First, the Rangers lost to Calgary. Then they lost to Edmonton. Then they lost to St. Louis. And finally, they lost to the Carolina Hurricanes in Carolina the other day. But the losing doesn't stop there. No, they just lost their 5th game in a row on national television in Philadelphia on Black Friday. And at this point, I think we all need to ask the question, is it time to rebuild the rebuild? Hello, Ranger fans. My name is Doc Schwartz, and this is the EDI Sports Show. This is the channel for people who love sports and sports cards, and we're going to get into the Rangers and the rebuild of the rebuild. This is going to be your opportunity to kind of weigh in. Yes, you can tell Chris Drury what you think the Rangers need to do. So let's go take a look at the lineup first of all. So this is the lineup as it stands right now. The only one on here that's on the team, obviously, you know, they have to switch people around, is Riley Smith. But here you go. This is the lineup. Now, the player that's missing is Kreider. Okay, so he's hurt. He's been hurt for the last 2-3 games. And that's kind of an issue because Kreider is sort of like the engine that runs this team. Without him on the power play, they just can't really score. He also is a huge penalty killer. The problem the Rangers have is that Kreider, unfortunately, plays too many minutes. He should be playing about 14 minutes a game, and unfortunately, he's getting around 17, 18 when he's playing. He just shouldn't get that much time. But here we go. Let's take a look at the players. If we were to rebuild this team, so here's your opportunity to be the GM of the New York Rangers. If the Rangers were to rebuild the rebuild, who do you keep? So let's take a look at the lineup. So the first person that we would keep is obviously going to be Panarin. I mean, he is the legitimately best player on his team. He shows up every single game. He's consistent. He has scored 100 points every year for the last 3. He's going to do it again this year as long as he keeps healthy. This is the first guy you got to keep. Now, who's the second guy? Well, Vincent Trocheck, his centerman. So that's the first line. You've got Panarin, you got Trocheck, and here's the third guy that you're going to keep is Lafreniere. All right, so we're good. We've got our top line. This is the best line in the NHL. Clearly, this is the guys that you want to stay with. Trocheck shows up. He's a hard worker. He's a grit guy. Lafreniere's got upside that we haven't even seen yet. So he is clearly great. We got 3 players now on the roster. All right, so who do we save after that? Well, let's go to Will Cuylle. Will Cuylle is now breaking out. He's only in his 2nd year, and he's just getting better and better. In fact, remember, Will Cuylle wasn't a first-round draft pick, and he's way better than Kaapo at this point. I don't know what to say, but he's doing amazing. All right, we got 4 players on the roster. Who's number 5? Well, we go down to the 4th line, Jimmy Vesey. Why? Because Jimmy Vesey only cost $800,000, plus he is versatile. He can play on the 4th line. He can play on the 3rd line. He can play on the 2nd line. He can play on the 1st line. He's got that kind of talent. 2, he can play on the power play, and he's a penalty killer. He and Chris Kreider are the 2 most valuable players on this team, and you cannot get rid of either one of them. So that's number 5. Now what's number 6? Adam Edstrom. Why? He's 6'6", 6'7". Who knows what the official measurement is, but he actually has skills, and you're now starting to see him score goals. This guy knows how to hit. He gets in front of the goaltender. He plays in the middle. He is huge. This is a 4th line guy. Maybe he could develop into a 3rd line guy, but you need guys on the bottom 2 lines. You do not get rid of Adam Edstrom. He is a good player. All right. Do we have anybody else that we would save? Well, unfortunately, we just have Chris Kreider. That's it. Chris Kreider is the only other person that we should save from this roster. That means, look at the names that we should probably be moving to try to improve this team. These guys are not going to take you to the promised land. Now, I'm going to say that I like the way Sam Carrick has played, And I also like the way Riley Smith has played. I think those have been two good additions. Not to say that I don't like Johnny Brodzinski, but unfortunately, I just don't think that he fits on this team. Unless you're going to play him at center, and unfortunately that's the problem, is that without Filip Chytil being out is a huge problem. He is the guy that you need. He is the center that kind of brings everything together. But Mika Zibanejad has not played very well at all. He's always on the ice when the other team scores. That's not good. Will Cuylle has been on the ice, I don't think yet, for a goal. I mean, can you believe that? Like, Will Cuylle has not been on the ice when the other team scores a goal yet. And they've already played over 20 games. So what does that mean? Like, you don't see Mika Zibanejad flying all over the ice anymore. You don't see that. You don't see him shooting the puck. He can't seem to hit the one-timer. He missed the goal against the Flyers the other night, which would have tied the game. He literally shanked it, and he's never done that before. Something is wrong with Mika Zibanejad, and we need to trade him now. These are the guys that should be on the trading block. Zibanejad, Kakko, Smith, Brodzinski, Berard, and Carrick. Now, I know Brett Berard is a young player. I understand that. But to be honest with you, maybe you get something for him. You still have Brennan Othmann in the minors. He still hasn't even come up. Or you trade Othmann and you keep Berard. But you can't keep everybody. We need to upgrade this team. So here's the question that I want to ask Ranger fans, all right? Who do you want to trade for? Put the names down. Let me know who are the players you want to trade for, and let me do the research on those players, and then I'll come back to you with who are the best players that you suggested, and then we can come up with some potential trades. Now, I have already said, if you guys don't know, I write a newsletter for the Rangers. You saw it at the beginning. Those are all the articles that I write. That's on Substack. You can go down to the link below in the description. You can sign up for it. It is 100% free, but I have already put out a trade proposal, basically Mika Zibanejad for Steven Stamkos and a number 1 draft pick. I don't know if that's fair. I have no idea. But we need somebody who has a one-timer on the power play. Imagine if you had Panarin shooting from the point, as well as Fox shooting from the point and making passes. You have Kreider in front, and then you have a sniper, which is what Zibanejad used to be, but a real sniper from the side who can hit the net every single time. That means that your power play goes from what it is right now, which cannot score, to probably the best in the league. Like, they will be at high 30s, low 40s in terms of conversion, which means that you cannot take a penalty against the Rangers. Like, if you took a penalty, you are literally going down by a goal. That's it. That's automatic. We need that. Now, Stamkos can still play, which means you put him on the third line. He's not a second line guy. He's not a first line guy, but we don't need a first or second line guy. We've got Panarin. We've got Cuylle. We need somebody on the third line. So put Stamkos on this team. Now you're starting 2. He's won 3 freaking cups. Rangers need some leadership on this team. That's what's missing. Chris Kreider is not outspoken. He is an awesome player. He is going to go down as one of the greatest Rangers ever, but he is not an outspoken leader. This team needs someone to tell everybody else on the bench, you suck. I don't know what is going on, but Laviolette cannot do it. Coaches in the 21st century cannot tell their players that they don't know how to play hockey, because then they get sued or they get fired. Coach Gallant was a player's coach. He let the players do what they want. And you know what they did? They stabbed him in the back after the playoffs. So Coach Gallant, out. Peter Laviolette has a structure. The players are just not good enough. That's the problem. That's the problem. The players are just not good enough. So anyway, put down the players that you want to trade for. I'll do the research and I'll come back to you. Thanks for joining. I'll see you in the next video. There's only one show I wanna watch. HOBBYEDI Sports Show.